Okay, I think it's live. Um, I had internet interruption, then I had to snack, continue, but in the meantime, I breakthrough, so cleaned up some of the code. Don't think it's important or and indeed, let's actually delete that interface. Do that. Also go in honest. So let's do a big recap. Start everything from scratch. Okay. So we now have this custom Godot plugin uh, we've been working on for the last week or so. It is filled with data, data structure. The game will some titles here, some names made up. Normally, under structure, we would have. I think tool is going to have travel, and maybe types like multiple varieties of a travel model. But I kept copying the name over and over. Structure, so you will see the mislabeled variety name here, but the goal here is to create this path. It's going to be the abbreviations for the first, and then just the full model name. You have stone tile and you have 5 styles, so that's for sure. So then each path here is going to create its unique asset ID, but the main goal here is actually this. We are then going to decorate our object stuff. This is just a test case. I need the game object to have receptacle property, also interactive property. I want to have 5 growing spots in my model, and then interactive object will have 2 collision bodies. When I hit this big ass button, what is essentially going to do is to take this asset template scene, it's going to duplicate it, and it's going to move it into assets folder. It's going to open it and do some magic, and we'll just see that. And it's now done. So we have now dynamically created game object with the following properties. The only missing thing here right now in this demo case is the fact that this model doesn't exist in the file system. Let's pick something that actually exists. Did I put it under? I thought I put it on. Yeah, I actually have a really well designed trellis model, but I think I did. Anyway, so let's look under models and let's pick something that we. Okay, equipment, structure pod, and this exists. Equipment structure pod, which is this trowel, and this may be the trellis that we usually. So either way, we hit this button, even though the scene is open, it's kind of irrelevant. It's actually still going to call the template and create this. Oh, I think we ended up using the raised bed corner unit, but we are now creating new assets based on this logic. So far, working fine, and we have game logic written for receptacle and object. Because you are creating uh, custom game object, you need to be assigning the collision shape. So that's what you have to do. You won't always know the shape of your object. You actually have a trellis unit. Let's look at. That's actually under prefabs right now. That's actually wrong. It's going to be properly, but this is what I mean by. So you custom size them so that it doesn't display those warning. It's pretty much done by this set factor. And I think last night after I didn't stream yesterday, but I was thinking about adding more to properties. I think we will also have audio property. Definitely need to add more stuff here, but that's the beauty of this tool that will keep adding. Let's open our interface for um, this area. I don't quite know why this keeps resetting current. Even though I set it to 1, see the setting. Honestly don't know why that's a big thing. Here is, I think first thing I'm going to this. I made one of these let's make this 400. Minimum size. Make each then squeeze this one. Say 60. 50 is more. Done. Sky. Now I know this is set to expand. Okay. Save this and we this area a little bit better. The squeeze a little bit. My initial goal was to suppose then this shouldn't expand. It should actually have its width. And it's going to a minor with that. All these spots should be on either you. Still big. You know what? I'm going to group this so that it's two spots, two collisions. This guy, see, it's fine. Set a for this. Expand. Yeah, I guess I remove it. And I think the minimum it can be, and that's because something else is kind of this, this. Or oh, um, oversee fish on. These guys will have their own. Okay, what else can we do to raise bed core? Is this something I manually created or I created it? Going to close that. Why is this still called raised bed corner? I guess because when I was first doing that, this was it's actually taking over. This is the file name, but the instance name is coming here. That's actually okay to a certain extent, because we will be interacting with this as a game object. And when we write our Blender importer plugin, most likely the instance name for this will actually file name. Just like this, we'll read at the same time. The difference is again, once again, this is a scene in models folder, which is an instance, like instance scene here. Inside another scene, this root scene is the real asset we want to use in the game. As far as I recall, when you do this, if you change the number of things, it actually has receptacle. I think it was checking if it has a receptacle, then it create a file receptacle. Yeah, it doesn't exist, which means if you're here, it's not. Which might be an okay thing or not. We haven't discussed if we want to overwrite the assets. I mean, mind you, this is overwriting it. It's not, because if we do it this way, this has now been changed. If I save this, it's still going to this work and it's not going to modify receptacle. If you want to change receptacle, you could just delete it, enable something. And similarly, just because a model is open, even if it's not open, I'm still going to work on it. Just because you just remove the checkbox here, it's not going to remove the existing receptacle. So we're not trying to make this interface look like what is already available in the. That's not the job. This is to create assets in a really fast way. I think I better go and fix some of the methods. There's apply receptacle, apply interactive. That's create representation is an okay name. It's fine. We're also creating collisions. The interactive part is also okay too. I think we also need to create the methods for these things. Apply animal. We should write that under. Maybe we should just take these two methods and receptacle. Also, this editor interface is now. There's been a great deal of struggle with accessing the within this. That's fine. We are applying interactive. So apply. Can apply structure. Apply rotate, of course. I think we kind of get that. Don't need to separate those lines where we apply the whole list of tool. I Okay, now we kind of have to write each. We'll write them after we create collisions from top to bottom, but from left collisions. If here's you know what? Let's do it regular expression. Always use better tool. Whatever you selected, func uh, this. Of course, it's not going to select. We are interested in this really. This. So do another func. Let's do the yep. Put take it's actually selecting the end of line. You should separate the this plus still doing. Let's do the end of character. So do one part. This is it. Still yep. Okay, this is the way. I don't know why I did. Select as many characters as possible. Then you get to the end. There's a line. You put the func space and then whatever you selected. Here's the thing. So you're going to pass. You're going to even put another. So there it is. At least they are passing. When we apply animal, we are essentially initializing the scene, injecting it the root. This is in a sense very similar to the way we apply receptacle. So we need to do something very similar. Shamelessly copy where we have this. If properties animal is not selected, switch it. And let's actually generalize this command. Only add this property if it okay. If animal node doesn't create all in Can we actually make this generic enough for the time instead of calling it animal? Let's call it child. I think this was at some point called child, but customized for receptacle. Now we could essentially pass a string here. It actually generates func fly property, because we don't really need to write what's happening for now. We don't have any customization yet. So this is going to be a property. This may actually pass. So then when property comes, this becomes again here. That's it. So now apply property. Um, you're essentially applying this 6 times, but let's take for the time being. What we are now interested in part starts after the underscore. That gets to this part, but just need this, this, this. Apply. Okay, we don't need to replace it. We just need list. But we if we are going to this much, my property is done. Now instead of writing the 6 time, like save, refresh the plugin. Okay, this could just stay like that. Not doing this. The only caveat here is this. Of course, user experience. If receptacle is selected but we do this 3, it's not gonna. We already know that. When we do this though, these six nodes under this they were supposed to, as long as I think the way I created them was title key. Properties. There are properties sections. They should is an easy fix. Um, this factory select stuff done. Hot EA 6, which is the one with this. Bam. Good. This is an odd asset right now because this asset is interactive. Is interactive, is a receptacle, is an animal, behaves like a structure, has inventory properties, can rotate, can also act like a tool, and it also has activity, curricular activity. I have 2 more counts that I'm going to bend stream by I think we may have got to that point where we do more game development to see how much more we can improve this plugin. And also, if possible, at some point, probably break down this. I don't know what I can do, but let's see. Create asset. Then we have the property starting 142. So almost half the file is doing the property assignments plus the represent. The rest of the file is handling what happens when you select. I also discovered that the utils was actually working, which actually has a load date, which actually returns the sugar path you give. Then make me think you don't need this. You just need to fill the data with fills load data. Just need path. When we thought the filters were not data is not going to be this data is here. Of course, to do this in A should be just fine. This list should be populated when we run this. Yeah, of course, I'm calling this, but it's automatically going to be called in put delete. Okay, that's at least 6-7 lines less work. This is sort of could we actually make this part of utils? Is this something we will need in this game? In addition to plugins. Because this is sort of working on a hard-coded dictionary. So the idea here is this. Let's take this function to the top where it's close enough. Given a value, it's looking for all the keys in legend. Suppose I could have done anyway. If the legend's key is the value we need, just return. This is when you pass here the user interface will show the text structure. but I need the underlying abbreviation. The way I look at this, let's reverse this list. But there was a reason why. Actually, the reason why I kept it is because when I'm refilling all this, fill category, there you go. I'm actually going to the legend because the abbreviations are coming from the data. Our data file has these abbreviations. So this EQP should render on the screen as equipment. I need to know the real value of equipment, but when you make changes here, you are only reading the string value, not the underlying value. You have to go back to the original. As this, get back to this. Because in drop downs, you cannot assign a custom ID to the string you're seeing. IDs are numerical, they don't map. I don't know if they are going to fix it, but if they do, then you really help. Then it would behave more like HTTP5 trope, generally. Hmm. So we do need this question whether I should make this part of utils. I don't think dictionary does that. Always give the key available. Let's make this this bad boy, and even utils will have some. Let's label this get key from string. Get key from mail. Are supposed to pass the dictionary. Going to be value. I'm going to make this a variant, which is when you don't put it, it's a maybe we'll match a string, maybe we'll match some number. Point is the dictionary that we are passing to dictionary's particular key is equal to the value. We are interested in the key and we. So now this is going to give error because it's just say what it is. Now key value. Now I have to pass the dictionary, the part that's same as many places as necessary. I think we are only doing it twice because we have these two things that are mapped one to one. They have the underlying. Let's refresh our plugin. Now, when I close this file, I'm actually even going to do this. Just remove everything, close it. I need two receptacles, one collision. I need this to be do it, done. So everything is working just. See. Is that shader topic? We are currently creating positions, but here in this preliminary work that we did last week, or manually created these instances to just want to try here shader. Can we the most basic spatial? There's practically no difference, and just like a plain spatial, but it displays a cross-eye 3D. It's really on. They are overlapped here. It's when I think it's 0, 0. That's why I see it. My question though, since this doesn't have any substance, cannot bind anything that actually has shader. This needs to have shader, but I'll go to my code here. Find the closest, find suitable spots. Get nodes in growings. So for trellis, I manually put these position 3D nodes in group called growing spot. That's how I'm able to select. This tool is not doing that. Good. Something else is also. I will need some kind of position. So or another question might be what as simple as possible can have shaders. Most likely not. Yep, we really it's like visual instance, it's a good vision. Let's create this an area. There's nothing to do with what. Let's evaluate our options. Most likely they'll be under. I think this is a specific case of this. Or sorry, this joint is not something. Navigation, that's a whole other topic. The receptacle. Stability not. Might be an interesting topic too. Okay, the whole other. This is an interesting. Okay, we may use this for performance reasons. Currently, I want to check my script receptacle. Why is it full in the hierarchy? Most likely because it's class. That's so. Why can't I see? I actually can because it's fine. What we are interested in visual visual instance. None of this geometry. Our good old mission. Yeah, we will have missions under it doesn't have a mission. Okay, it has no geometry from the mesh, but when I override the material with this, and I create, but here's the problem. How is it gonna know its own size? Here's some albedo, right? What is going to be red? Substance. So it needs geometry. So we could give it a plain mesh. Red, which comes back to our cube situation, either the cube or plane. I think I'm gonna grab some Mobile 20. I think when I'm creating this asset with the preset positions, you also create these preview instances. Basically turn this into a scene with its proper settings. I should also be dropping those. I think the goal will be this. When the user approaches one of these spots, and that particular plane should become visible, or that the shader should actually to it. Right now, everything is visible because everything assigned, and that's it. Water and come. change the look into a way to assign groups to our receptacle position, because I don't want to relabel that growing spot, just put them in groups. You're not searching, selecting. That will be under here. By that when you put the growing spot, put the child spatial head the group. Bingo. Call it growing. Really cool. Add them. Beautiful. Also underneath edge, need a new something control load. Makes me think whether these two things could be its own scene. That I actually call this a growing argument. Close the door. The cat is coming in and out. Cat control. I think it makes much more sense to save this as its own. Whatever happens in that growing is its own content. Okay. Let's also call this growing. Now, we could also add this to its own group. Um, or simply make this plain this. And as a material, it is I think we could pick the most more or less something like I think this is too big. Also, why is this when you look from top it's actually 1 it's actually 2 by 2 1 unit each direction. Or maybe we could actually change that. We may have to put a custom model for it. Spots. Just a marker, right? For now, we could scale this right here. What if we do it one? Okay, and even this is too big because this is essentially 1 meter, right? Let's do it this way. No idea how this came, but so I suppose by turning on and off the growing spot, we could accomplish what. So this is gonna be all replaced soon. Good. Growing spot is going to be something initialized here. So in a sense, we are trying to load resource from path scenes growing ESCN. We are creating an instance of this. Turn it spot. Okay, spot is a node. Spotty. You are a node. No, you already defined that spot is what are we trying to do? Trying to add this to it's cool. Actually, we are already doing that. This is my so instead of this, this is going to replace this. Don't need that because we've done it. Here is this spot. Let's call it growing. Receptacle is going to receive this. It's going to do this, and it's done. Save. Finish our plugin. Come to the plugin. Come here. This is this actually has receptacle width. We put 2 growing spots under here. Hit this. Done. Beautiful. Now this actually has 2 growing spots. Whether we can see them or not is kind of question, but suppose we can. They are by making them 0.2, 0.2, they're essentially when we said 1, it was actually 1. 0.2, it's like 20 centimeters, like still 40 centimeters. I think. Anyway, this is going to be interesting side. You look here, yeah, it designates 2 growings. Not bad. When you turn them on and off, they are going to be just grab my business book and write down something that can be decided. Or I better write it. Most likely collision shapes will new box shape. Can we also take care of that too? Collision shape is going to be interactive, create collision. When we create the collision, it should probably shape type. But most likely that is this, right? Shape new box shape. Search out box. Or is there already a class? Yeah, shape. Actually do shape is the shape. So here, so when we delete the interactive property, say this needs interactive one collision, create this, which actually gave, oh, I did not this, did I? There you go. Collision shape is this big ass box, the one by one, and you position this accordingly. Now, real smart thing would be really pushing the limits here. Godot actually knows how big is because this is a bounding box. Let me do this. I can always. I actually want to. Why don't you run your things for now? Was the other? when you say it has limitations, kind of mean get child 0. Just want to try. Can do this. Okay, time to take this script, delete this. Let's create a throwaway. I think I already have some script. I did it for site. Throwaway. Yeah, this is just try weird things. I'm going to do is run this scene. Okay. Oh, this actually is depending on Visual Debug, whether we need debug or let's just inject Visual Debug, which is on in our side, but okay, we have the deltas. Go away. Let's pass. Okay. I'm a tool, I'm spatial. Get child is the raised bed corners. I'm actually interested in is some node. Call it child. Let's call this onReady or child get child 0. Don't need to. But when you are actually done, I want you to print out else. What was the thing with the AA? Axis aligned bonding. Constructs an AABB from a position side. And we get the AABB somehow. Like this. This is what I'm interested in. Mesh get AABB. Just need to access the mesh. Interesting. Is returning an AABB. Smallest AABB enclosing this mesh. If I get this, then I can apply this size over the collision box shape that I. The reason why I'm actually doing this is there is a possibility that in Blender file we will create empty nodes. Where is Mr. Threads? We will create either empty nodes, some nodes that are labeled properly, that will just define the, say, like, here's the box, here's another, essentially that's what we are seeing here. It's two shape collisions. If we define that shape, when we import it into Godot, those shapes will be converted into these collision shapes. Because why not create these two, and then this box shape, and then this is calculated automatically. So to be able to calculate this, I don't need to do all the work in Blender. I can pull this off here by simply working it out on an example model. Basically, this is going to was doing it in this. Okay. When I'm dynamically creating this it here, it knows what the representation is. Just like Trellis, this model has a this asset is a representation. This is an odd shape. That's right now the representation node, it knows its bounding box. That's what Godot does for you. If I'm able to read that box, since I'm creating this dynamically, this doesn't need to be huge. These values could be as big as this selection box. We can pull that off, and we can easily bring that information. Just size it automatically during doing it. Because this is good. I mean, creating it, and all I need to do is just size to fit into the corners, but that's still eyeball. I think I'm going to investigate this for another 10 minutes and call it a day. Because I'm afraid I might see. Get the child. So here's actually our model. Okay, this is essentially a spatial node. Could any spatial node have A, B, or do you need a mesh? Need So you need to find the mesh. But looky here, special article. Okay, visual instance. Any visual instance node could also have. So visual instance essentially it's this is transformed A. We might actually to this. Mind you, in our initial case, we are not doing plain import, but try to we are here. We are writing this here. When you get this, what do you get? This is my I'm a tool. Here's my this get child is not because this by itself is spatial, but it's not exact. This, however, is by the virtue of machines. Spatial doesn't have a funny thing is either you select this or this. This is giving you the so there must be some. Okay, let's dive in. We got something. The fact that these values are close enough. Why do we get to see 6 values? Is because spatial we are kind of getting these two. This is gonna lead us to the same visual instance, this or this one is either way it's going to give position, comma, comma, position, size. Several utility functions typically used for this position, size, and expand. Good point. Get area. Will we just get the position and size? So the whole R A B B. Okay. This whole A B B size. Do this. Gonna output this. So okay, here's the funny thing. This guy, where is the position? Actually, this sort of minus half in it, which makes sense. Yeah, x is going positive this way. So minus this 0.2 in y. And in z, it's 0. It's as if it put the position here, and the size is like from here to doesn't grow in one. This way. It kind of puts the corner here. Weird part. And if I'm eyeballing this, first I need to go. Let's try to move this to this exact. See what happens. 0, 4, 5, 6, 2, 9, 7, 6. It put it there. As I suspected. Because X is growing this way. It actually put it in sort of, there's this edge coming down where it meets the soil. That's where it put. I don't know why, because the pivot I remember from Blender, I think I'm not mistaken. And then when we give this extent as the size, I think we have to half those. The problem because zero it. This size information. What if we actually get the end instead of the size? That's probably the last thing. So nothing has changed. This is. Oh, but you know what I can? It's as if I need to add these to start. I need to maybe do this position plus N, say, and maybe half it. Going to be like 46 is going to be 3. This plus this is going to be 418. It's, it's more actually 209. Right. Halving this. This box to me is correctly sized, but it's the wrong position. It's as if it actually came this way, more or less. Yeah, I think I remember making this raised bed corner 40 centimeters. It explains why this should be exactly like. But This also had some 10 centimeters hanging in this Z. This should make. And now this is not this. This. Why I don't. Why? Why this is actually. So tomorrow's goal will be, well, maybe business development. Okay. Sorry, not marketing. Anyhow, I don't think there will be a stream. But next time we tackle this issue, just need to figure out this blue boxes, which illusion, this value in comparison to this value. There is some something close going on with the way we are accessing the bounding box. But I mean, worst case scenario will actually just kind of okay. But again, if we write the Blender importer, then that actually is going to be coming in Blender. We'll just do a bounding box here. You'll know the exact dimensions, that sort of thing. I think that's it for today, and definitely Wednesday is the stream day for game development. Until then, any stream I might do will just be a stream. So, good night, safe, and